Hello everyone, I'm Joe Ackourey, and welcome to the Fly of the Week. For this episode, episode 13, I'll be tying the blue wing olive Compara. Now pay attention to the way I attach the wing. It's a method that I developed over 30 years ago, and I know you'll find it very useful for smaller Compara like sizes 18s, 20s, 22s, and even 24s. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay guys, here we go. The blue wing olive Compara. First thing we want to do is place the hook in the vise, making sure that the shank of the hook is parallel with your tabletop. And begin our next step, which is going to be finding out where the wing is going to go. I like to use my thread to find that location. So you wrap your thread around the shank of the hook, wrapping back to the halfway point of the shank, which is right around there. Clip off your excess thread. And now wrap back up half of that. That's where the wing is going, guys. The 3/4 mark. Next thing we want to do is place our wing on. Actually, that's our first real material we're placing on this hook. And this is my Compara deer hair that I have on my website. This pattern calls for a dark wing, so we're going to go with the dark Compara hair. And we're going to cut off a little bit, right around like 3/4 of a gap worth, and you just cut that off, measure it up, get it as close as possible. And now I want to comb out the fuzz that might be inside and in between the deer hairs. So I open up my scissors about 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch and just push it into my finger and comb it out. And you can see it does a great job. Get rid of all that. You don't want the fly to absorb, any more water than it has to. So this fuzz will definitely take in water. So we get rid of that. Next step is placing the natural ends. Natural ends versus the cut ends. These are the cut ends. This is the natural end. You want the natural end going right inside the hair stacker. And begin the stack. And it should be like it was cut with a pair of scissors. That's how nice it come out. Very good, except for one little hair. Nice. Pull that out in the direction the wing is going to be facing. And now we're going to measure our wing length. Okay. Now, I think you remember from previous episodes that the hook dictates to us fly tyers the correct proportions. So in this case, the length of the wing is going to equal the shank of the hook, including the eye. So I measure that up nicely. We know where the wing is going to be set. I want to tighten my thread up a little bit. I'll spin my bobbin to make it tight. Take that wing and put it on top of that predetermined area and wrap about 8 or 10 wraps around there. Okay. Now, this is the technique I want you to pay attention to. Unwrap those wraps that secure the wing, but just hold on to it. Notice the crease I placed in the wing by wrapping those 8 or 10 wraps in there. The reason why I do that, that step is because watch my very first half a wrap. Look how much deeper that thing is biting in. I want to get this wing as close to the shank as possible with one wrap. Now, here's the trick, guys. My technique goes as follows. I let the hair, I'm going to do this slow motion. I let it spin all the way around the shank of the hook. And bear down on it then. So right now, this wing is spread 360 degrees around the shank of the hook, as you could see. I'm going to try to point it toward the camera there. And let's see here. Yep. Now, you want to clip this off, the excess off on an angle. Clip it real close. Make sure you have an angled clip. Now, the reason why I decided to spin this around the shank of the hook is to distribute that bump that is typical with a Compara, because Compara's wings are tied on top of the shank, and then you got that huge bump behind the wing. So by distributing that bump all the way around the shank of the hook, it removes the bump. It distributes the bump all the way around. And guess what? it enables you to go and tie comparadons down to like 18s, 20s, 22s, and even 24s without that bump. And I'm going to finish this wing up here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Wrap through the cut ends. You can see there is no bump. It's more like a tapered, it's got a very tapered look. No huge bump. Now I'm going to angle the fly to the camera, and draw up those fibers and dam up some thread. Right up in front of the wing. Give that wing a little yank, and then open the wing up. There's your comparadon wing, guys. 180 degrees. All, on the top end of the hook. Nice. Okay, the next step is getting ready for the tail. Got one wild one there. There's always that one that doesn't want to cooperate. Get your tail, get your thread back. Right to the bend where the bend and the shank meet. Now you want to choose a feather from the side of your neck, your medium to dark dun, whose fiber length is quite long. You can see how long these fibers are. So the fibers are going to be our tail. So we want to grab the feather or the hackle, draw the fibers down until they're perpendicular to the stem. As you can see, how nice that is. Grab, using the tips of your fingers, grab the tips of the fibers. Grab a good amount, like a good ½ inch worth. Pull the feather away and just kind of tap those ends until they meet. There's your tail. Put your tail has got to be measured too. So if the wing is equal to the shank of the hook including the eye, we're going to make the tail the same length. Attach that in the spot. Wrap it up until these excess of the tail meets the excess of the wing, and it'll form a beautiful body for you, as you can see. It's almost seamless. You don't see any bumps or anything that's going to cause an uneven body when I go to put the blend on there, the body. So now I got this tail material made out of medium to dark dun. I'm going to lift up the tail. I always like to kick a wrap or two underneath, wrap a thread underneath the tail, and then fan the tail out really nice. And then lock it in. Just look at those fibers. There we go. And then any hackle fibers that don't cooperate, get rid of. I got 1 or 2 down here. There we go. Okay. The next step is dubbing our body. We're going to use my bluing olive fur blend that I also have on my website. You don't use much, just little amounts. Stretch it out. Dub it on the thread, nice and even. You don't need wax with this dubbing, I promise you. Maybe a little bit of saliva, but it goes on like butter. You can see how nice this dubbing noodle is turning out. Very fine. You could dub this stuff down to a 28 if you wanted to, or if you needed to. Slide that up in position. Pick up your tails that you wrapped. You set earlier, pick them up, and throw a wrap under there. Pull down on it. Put a wrap in front and on top, and begin to dub your body all the way up the shank of the hook. I do have a little hackle fiber cotton there. Okay. Dub your body. A little bit more. We're going to dub right up to the wing. Slide that in position. Pull your wing back. Build up a little bit in the front. Just a little bit more, and that should do it. Again, pull your wing back and start damming up some for a blend right up against the wing. And then pull the wing up again. And put a wrap behind. And just a smidget more. We should do the trick nicely. Just in front of the wing. There you have it, guys. Form a little head. Tie your finishing knot. A little bit of head cement for the finishing knot to protect the knot. This fly is done. Let me just fix the wing up a bit. Any wild hairs, get rid of. Fix your tail up a little bit. Guys, there it is. Blue-wing olive Compara done. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode. Tight lines, guys.